Two directions. I had no hope. We never follow instinct. We just don't understand a different situation. We've lost your land. My heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo. With everybody else, I think that you should learn to love yourself. The man that you love most, the man that brought you here, he's always in your memory, he's always near. My heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo.
Good morning. How are you doing? My name is Willie Bragg. I hope everybody's doing well. And I'm having a little bit of a glitch this morning, so I apologize. It's the damn Spectrum, formerly known as Time Warner. I should do with Spectrum what I do with X and call it like I call them Twitter, because I try to not call it X. I try to call it Time Warner because that's what I'm used to. Kind of old-fashioned like that. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing dandy today. and all that. I decided to basically do a last minute live stream. Well, I kind of known about this like from several days ago and all of that, but it was kind of like, well, I wanted to talk about it and just kind of wanted to see how things more or less would develop. So that's basically what it was coming down to. So and so anyway, and I think that before we start, I don't know if I played this before, but I think I'm going to go on a whim. And I don't know if I played this before or not. But I will, because I'm a sick puppy. And if I played this before, let me know. So I'm trying to remember. But anyway, no, I'm not going to play it. And you'll never know what I was going to play. So there we have it. But anyway, in other words, I was actually going to try. I forgot to put up a little filler comedy thing to start off the show to kind of lighten the edges and it's a fault of mine, so I apologize. So, please forgive. So anyway, let's see what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about British politics, henceforth, why you see the background of what looks like a British architecture, British home. And you can see in the background, that's the British house, the flat, as they call it in England, in London, for students. Vivian, Rick, Neil, and Mike, they lived in a flat in London. They attended Scumbag College, rather. And for the TV show, The Young Ones. And you can see the characters from The Young Ones there. That was the episode where Vivian got pregnant. Hold on a second. I'll do this here. And that's the scene from the TV show. I don't think any copyright violations would be transpiring from that, showing you a scene there. They're not actually saying anything. So, anywho. So anyway, the reason I'm dealing with the UK is that Jeremy Corbyn was a Labour MP from the Islington North constituency. He got elected in 1983 as one of the so-called far left. And Britain, as it turns out, has this little bit of a problem that the United States has, where it doesn't take a whole lot to be considered far left. Now, to be fair to the people of Britain, their Overton window is a little bit further left than the Overton window in the United States. As I said, in the United States, to be considered far left, you have to be Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi in England would be a fucking Tory, a fucking conservative. So that's where we're at in terms of British politics versus American politics. So Jeremy Corbyn, who I affectionately call Britain's Better Bernie, basically he was kicked out of the Labour Party 2020. He took over the leadership of the Labour Party in 2015. In 2017, the Labour Party made a significant comeback. They weren't governing, but they in order to prevent the Labour Party from governing the UK, the acting Prime Minister then, Theresa May, she had to go and form a coalition government with the Democratic Unionist Party of Northern Ireland, a hard right-wing party to the right of the Conservative Party, probably in the territory of Nigel Farage's Reform Today, but in a different area of the right, I guess you could say. So he's been smeared badly. They call him an anti-Semite because he gives a damn about Palestinians. And apparently, if you give a damn about Palestinians, you're an anti-Semite. And we're talking about even their people that they are hardcore supporters of Israel, that they have empathy for the Palestinians, and they're called anti-Semites. It just make this shit make sense. So the situation, and the thing is that on the flip side, a lot of people who were softly Zionists, as you will, kind of walked away from it, because if Zionism is the representation is that of Benjamin Netanyahu, they're like, get this shit away from me. And so, he's been supportive of the Jewish community, but he doesn't support the state of Israel, especially with the crimes against humanity that's being committed by Netanyahu and company. And so, good man, Jeremy Corbyn has been smeared. They did the same shit to Bernie Sanders to some degree, too, here in the United States. Alan Dershowitz called him an anti-Semite. So, and Bernie Sanders is Jewish. But here's the thing. So he ran as an independent last year, an independent socialist, and got elected as an independent socialist, reelected, but this time without the Labor Party affiliation, and he's an independent in the parliament. He decided, you know what, it's time to form a new political party. So he and Zeta Sultana from the Coventry constituency, South Coventry constituency, a friend of the Willie Bragg show, Angie Moon, she's been on our show here. She lives in Coventry, England, but she doesn't live in the same part of Coventry where Zara Sultana, represents the people of that area. I was just like, oh, that's a damn shame at the time. Looking back, it is what it is. It's kind of meh. Because as it turned out, Zeta Sultana, whereas I called Bernie Sanders, called Jeremy Corbyn Britain's better Bernie, Zeta Sultana ended up becoming Britain's Elizabeth Warren. That's not a compliment. That is not a compliment. Because I used to respect Elizabeth Warren a long time ago. So did Bernie. Bernie wanted her to run in 2015. He only threw his hat into the ring in 2015 because he wanted somebody to challenge Hillary Clinton. And she wouldn't do it. And then she fucked him over in 2016, did not even endorse him. And in 2020, she ran in the 2020 primaries, riding off that Bernie wave from 2016. And she called him a sexist. She, as Obama made his phone calls to make sure everybody got out of the way, she remained long enough to fuck him over in Massachusetts in the primaries. Call him a sexist on TV, basically. Got all Karen on him. You call me a liar on TV after she called him a liar. Well, it wasn't per se over that kind of alleged sexism that Bernie Sanders is accused of. But Zara Sultana kind of wanted to do things her own way. And this political party in Britain that doesn't have a name yet is now, whereas it was showing a lot of promise, it is now in borrowed times. What the fuck, folks? What the fuck? I'm going to play you this video because this came up in the very last minute. So this is from All American Socialist, good guy from Pennsylvania, and he was the one that alerted me about it. Let me find that video. Give me a moment here. That's not it. That is not it. Oh my. Okay, give me a moment. I think I found it. Did I find it? Oh my goodness. Okay, give me a moment here. I got this done in the last minute, so please forgive me. I know where I can get this. Oh, there it is. I don't know why I'm having trouble finding things. This is what happens when you're your own producer. So unprofessional on my part. I do indeed apologize. A StreamYard is kind of weird like that. Here we go.
Deaf Wing is as Deaf Wing does. West Wing is as West Wing does. Holler if you hear me, folks. What a mess. What an absolute disaster. Now, look, I'm going to give you a rundown of this. I'll give you the summary that I have right here. We'll maybe look at some of the comments or something, and then we'll go from there. Look, if you've been watching this channel, you know what the process is, you know what the program is, you know what the great truths are. That's how we get power. It's not this baloney. I applaud them for trying with a party in a sense, but the overwhelming energy that is constantly put into hustling backwards, as I call it, is just incredibly detrimental to the left's morale. Let's just put it that way, the working class's morale. So check this out. Politics UK as summary. What happened with the Your Party today? So if you don't know, Jeremy Corbyn and some others decided to form the Your Party, a left-wing party for the UK. Look, I get they already have Labour and Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats and the Greens and Reform and UKIP and Workers' Party, all sorts of stuff. But they want something with people who have some juice, some freaking edge, some political capital. Zara Sultana is one of those individuals, right? Jeremy Corbyn, right? So let's see what's going on. What happened with Your Party today at 11:11? Zara Sultana posted a link to sign up for Your Party membership. The link is on a different domain from what was previously used on other Your Party communications. Uh-oh. The membership fees are $5 a month or $55 a year for regular, or $250 a month or $25 annually for concessions. This was followed by an email to subscribers at 11:17. Sultana claims that Your Party had reached 20,000 members by 13:30. So that'd be 1:30 in the afternoon, right? Jeremy Corbyn and 4 other MPs released a statement at 14:07. That would be 2:07 in the afternoon, 2 p.m. Urging supporters not to sign up and to cancel direct debits if they have, stating that they are seeking legal advice. Zara Sultana's name was left off the letter. Corbyn also then emailed members shortly after with a statement. Politics Home then reported that a formal split in Your Party now seems inevitable, according to several sources. Zara Sultana hit back at 14:44. That would be, once again, 2:44 p.m. branding Your Party as a sexist boys club, and admits she did not have permission from Corbyn to launch paid memberships earlier. She has now asked Corbyn to meet with her. Oh my God. Let's read some of the comments here. It says, should I support the Your Party People's Front or the people front of your party. Oh no.
Yeah, I like the fact that he mentioned the reference the from the Life of Brian, the people front of Judea versus the Judeo's people's front. But so it's kind of a reference. And for those who don't know why they made that reference in the movie The Life of Brian, it was basically a dig at a lot of left wing groups trying to fight within side, trying to get influence inside the Labour Party, when the Labour Party at one time in the UK was the institutional party and the place where you win influence and all of that. And the fight at that time was primarily among rival Trotskyist organizations. And and not to say that the other rivaling ideological factions didn't fight and all that, but I think that that's basically what it was in a reference of and everything like that. And so you had groups like the Workers' Party, the Workers' Revolutionary Party. You had groups like the Socialist Workers' Party. You had organizations like that. You also had in the 1980s the infamous labor militant, and grant you, I'm not a Trotskyist, but I would have been a member of a labor militant because they were the ones who were fighting Thatcher the most stridently at the time. And I'm getting a little off topic here, but I just wanted to touch that on these points because Michael here was referencing that with regard to Life of Brian regarding the 1970s situation. So anyway, enough of me meandering. We'll let All American Socialists continue. And Michael, if you're listening, I apologize.
TV Gum says she wasn't kidding. And he quotes her saying, "We are not here to beg for crumbs off the table. We are taking the fucking lot. We're taking the lot." Cootie says, "We don't have time for this. Eager or not, she needs to rein it in." Jules says, "What she's done has the potential to be a criminal offense worthy of prison on the basis of fraud or GDPR breaches. Not enough popcorn." Carefree Rise says, Met Police UK look into this potential fraud by Zara Sultan. I'm not going there. I'm just saying that we're a clusterfuck. Okay? We do not follow the process to get the program and restore the great truths. And when I talk about the program, it sounds like the Socialist Sermon on the Mount. That's what it's supposed to sound like. And that process is very important because you cannot hustle backwards. That's what American leftists have been trying to do since the 70s. Instead of having labor, tenant, and student unions united first to already be an organized space with like interests, moving on institutions, they try to cobble it together while they get a couple people elected here or there, and then they try to wake up the masses and build this socialist movement from there, from inside a bourgeois party. I'm not saying don't try. I love that you're trying. I love that you're trying things. But the process still has to be followed. You can do all this electoral stuff and the process at the same time. And what is it? That it's the permanent winning procedure. I call it that because you win while you do it. You arm, train, yes, that sort of arm, train, that sort of train, educate and organize, and then unionize workers, tenants, and students internationally. It has to be international. It has to be international. It has to be international.
I want to interrupt because I agree with what Michael's saying here. And I am a pacifist, but I am what was referred to. And if Catherine Ann McCloskey is listening, I'm going to quote the late Donald Buskey, who of the Socialist Party of Pennsylvania. I am a relative pacifist. Now, you want to defend yourself, you have a right to do that. But I abhor violence altogether. But what Michael here is saying regarding to to the arming word and all of that, we got a dangerous situation. I mean, we got politicians wanting to disarm transgender people, and we know why they do. And some people be like, well, Willie, I mean, what does that have to do with the working class? If you're a socialist, and I don't want to use the word, what's that word is used? Intersectional. I mean, let me hear me out. I don't want to use it in the most cliche sort of way, but everything do connect. It all connects because the IWW's old slogan: "An injury to one is an injury to all." And so, as you think about it in terms of working class issues, while if you look at the LGBTQ spectrum, most people seemingly are financially well off, with the transgender community being probably the most financially disadvantaged because they're the most shunned and they're the worst treated out of everyone within that spectrum. And the fact that people want to have them disarmed is kind of alarming. So, and with the right wing, with the ICE situation, it is scary what's going on against immigrants, and to hear talk about homegrowns and the idea that just doing this podcast that I do could get my ass in El Salvador is a scary thought. It is a scary thought. Charlie Kirk was a wealthy man, and they're trying to make a martyr. But the martyrs are going to be people on the left that they're going after, because they were already punching left in society as it is. And previously was the punching left was more along the lines of being dismissive. But now you're going to see it. You're going to see a real punching down on the left. Now in Britain, they're a little bit better off, slightly. They do have a national health service. May not be in the greatest shape in the world, but they had time. They have some wiggle room to reverse Thatcherism. I mean, we're in the 12th term of Ronald Reagan, and I don't see it coming to a stop. I see it getting worse. But I digress, and I'll let Michael continue.
If there are people on Mars, it's got to be interplanetary. It doesn't work any other way. You can't allow bourgeois governments to gang up on the working class in one country and crush them. You have to wake up the masses everywhere. You get all those spaces organized. I name those people because that's the broadest sections and deepest layers of humanity, and those are the spaces in which they reside: the workplace, living space, and learning space. You get them together, they form like Voltron, they move on institutions. Okay, and they will not be denied. So they recruit you instead of you trying to recruit them. Does that make a little more sense? They recruit you instead of you trying to recruit them. How to sink your party before it's even off the ground, says Jay. Schrodinger's Border says Sultana sets up an unauthorized website asking for money. Jeremy Corbyn says he's taking legal action. The Labour Party spinoff is providing real comedy. The Labour Party is providing real comedy. They are a disaster right now. Keir Starmer. Look, it's nice to see the far right lose in the UK, but holy shit. They are not doing a good job.
They've been doing a terrible job, Labor, since the days of Tony Blair. And when I got started into the movement here in the United States, inspired by Eugene Debs back in college, just looking in Britain, I was just thinking, could they got a socialist party, Labour Party over there? And then I found out what Tony Blair was doing. I had a British friend at the time who thought that Blair was okay, and I wanted to laugh at this person today, but anyway, he regarding Blair, you know, it was bad enough that the clause for the Labour Party constitution was withered away, but the party went further and further to the right, introducing privatization measures within the NHS. Still public service, but market mechanisms inside there called private financial initiatives. They need to get rid of that shit, you know. But it started with Neil Kinnock back in the 80s when the British Labour Party in 1980 had Michael Foot as the leader of the party. And the thing about Michael Foot, who basically, when he lost in 1983 to Margaret Thatcher, it was a massive defeat. The press call it the 1983 Labour Party Manifesto, their platform, as the longest suicide note in history. And the Labour Party Manifesto was wonderful. It called for the renationalization of all that was privatized under Thatcher and further nationalizations of industries. It called for Great Britain to withdraw from NATO, to be non-aligned, neutral, to gut away their nuclear, biological, chemical weapons, to basically be in friendship with everyone, to not be hostile toward the Soviet Union, not be hostile toward, Cuba, to not be hostile toward all the countries that the Reagan administration was being hostile toward at the time, to have a tougher line against apartheid in South Africa, that sort of thing. And it was considered the longest suicide note in history. So Neil Kinnock came along and he modernized the Labour Party for the worse, not to the level of Tony Blair, but it was a beginning right there. And anyway, he was referencing kind of what a joke the Labour Party at the moment is, but it's been something that's been happening for a very long time. And they were kind of getting their act together when Jeremy Corbyn became leader. So much so that Billy Bragg was doing his campaign work for the Labour Party too. Somebody I named myself after. So anyway, we'll let Michael continue.
They're very bad. He's going to get crushed. Apparently, Corbyn is no longer listed as a leader, so you will be rebranding as your caliphate, says Mr. East. Hey, we got a bigot there. Great. Fake tough guy, wannabe wise guy. Laveride says, so she took the money? I don't know. Owen Jones says, the proposed Corbyn Sultana new left party galvanized so much support and hope, and it is clearly a bit of a shit show. Given the country is veering towards fascism, this is unforgivable. If it's not resolved soon, people will switch off and just bet everything on the Greens. Here's Jeremy Corbyn. I don't really want to read you guys all this, but he says, urgent message to all UK supporters this morning. An unauthorized email was sent to all your UK supporters with details of supposed membership portal hosted a new domain name. Legal advice is being taken. That email should be ignored by all supporters. If any direct debits have been set up, they should be immediately be canceled. The agreed process was announced on 1 August. The Independent Alliance group of MPs, Jeremy Corbyn, Zahra Sultana, Iqbal Mohammed, Adnan Hussein, Shawkat Adam, Ayub Yad are stewarding and accountable for the foundation process of the new party, leading to an inaugural Democratic conference in the autumn. Earlier this week, we shared new details about the roadmap to the launch, including our plans for mass regional assemblies and our founding a conference. Soon you will be able to turn your support into membership, your part of the UK, and shape the future of our party and our country. Look, she's got a message down here too, but it is like incredibly long. I mean, this is just like a paragraph. Ted Granger says, help, we launched our membership portal by mistake. Oh, my God. About Her says, this is going to end up in a People's Front of Judea versus the Judean People's Front situation, isn't it? Yeah. City Blue says, well done, Jeremy. Destroyed any chance of this party being taken seriously with this statement. 1 step forward, 1 million steps back. I don't know about that, but it's not good. After you got 20,000 members in just 3 hours, you emailed me and everyone else telling us to cancel direct debits. I'm not sure you understand how insanely bad this looks. Don't know how you come back from this. How depressing, says Ricky Hale. John Urquhart says, this was the only way you could handle this. This was it. Stone Cold says, utter clown show from all of you. So, look, follow the process. You'll get the program. You'll be able to form all your parties in every country. Okay, you'll be able to pick the party instead of, random parties trying to freaking pick you guys. I'm going to leave it at that. You know what's up.
Yeah. So, and basically, in a nutshell, what Michael's basically saying is that the British left looks like they're taking note from the American left to be ineffectual and be feckless, and that's essentially what's happened. And it's totally fucked up that that's the situation there. It totally is fucked up. And I had so much hope for this party. And sometimes, I had an attachment to the Labor Party for sentimental reasons. They were the party of the National Health Service. 1945, they got elected, and the world's most capitalist country at that time. They transferred into the welfare state it became, and they developed the powerful unions and created public corporations, which means that they nationalized a lot of industries during that 6-year period between 1945 and 1951. These institutions like rail and long distance trucking and electricity, water, coal mining, this sort of thing. They actually engage in social ownership of a lot of the commanding heights of industry at that time. I believe by 1951, iron, steel, this sort of thing. Some of the automakers were either under social ownership or partly under social ownership. Airlines, that sort of thing. And here's the thing about it. When it happened, by 1951, almost half of the economy was nationalized in the UK. So, and it was basically FDR's New Deal on high potent meth in a good way as far as potency. I mean, it was really aggressive what they did in the UK. It wasn't quite, it wasn't quite the system that they have in Cuba. It wasn't quite the system they have in Yugoslavia under Tito or anything like that. But it was a step toward real socialism. Britain at one time was the country stepping toward real socialism in ways that what people consider socialist today, the Norways and the Swedens and the Denmarks, kind of really were never in comparison. But we look at them today as such. Well, because they got the 90% of the workforce is unionized. I mean, that helps. But the thing is, that the British left, I guess they want to be fucked over as the American left to do this sort of thing. But, we'll go with, give me a second here. Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana, and she's going to be the cause of possibly a Farage government taking over with this kind of bullshit. Because, it would have been nice to know that this political party could have built when I had Angie Moon on my show, a friend of the Willie Bragg show, who I mentioned earlier, we're just talking two American socialists, one living in England, one living in the United States, who's interested in British politics. What would you like to name this political party? She had your say. She liked the name, the hashtag your party. And I could see the appeal of that. And I told her that I personally like the name the Independent Labor Party, which was a proto labor party of sorts prior to the creation of the Labor Party in 1900, when the Fabians were around in the 1890s, I believe, and trade unions and the Fabians and the socialists were divided between independent political action versus working within the Liberal Party. The ILP was the political party people went to. They wanted to not work with the liberals. And the ILP for many years worked inside the Labor Party, and sometimes they separated from the Labor Party. Michael Foot was affiliated with the ILP, and they dissolved in 1975. Became a publication called Labor Left Briefings. I would say if this group would have just carried on forward, I would say bring back the old name, Independent Labor Party. But anyway, with Keir Starmer being the piece of shit that he is, kissing the ring of genocide by sucking up to Benjamin Netanyahu, it was just like, could you justify being in such a party, And so I was just thinking, this is a chance to, sometimes you just need something, just a push to do something radical. And it would have been something that could have been an inspiration for American leftists, that they don't have to go and look at the Democratic Party and say, hey, we could do something better than just Democrats. And if your party would have been successful, although they don't have the left-wing victories yet, I could have easily called your party the British counterpart of a movement that I do have a little bit of hope for in the United States that's growing, called Workers Strike Back with Kshama Sawant. But I don't know. What's happened is just most unfortunate. So I call Sarah Sultana, as far as I'm concerned, as I said, as far as I'm concerned, she just mortifies me for what she did, because, as I said, the British left, they had an opportunity, a missed opportunity right there. And I hate the idea of the British left copying the failures that is of the American left. It's dismal here at this time. When this is the best we can come up with when it comes to the left. I would say at least Bernie tried. Maybe you can say that. Elizabeth Warren, opportunist. AOC, she's a joke. And, and then you have all these organizations, the alphabet soup of the entire American left, swinging their dicks around, wanting to say, hey, we're the way to go. And I was that guy one time when I was in the Socialist Party USA, thinking, hey, why don't you all just come and join us? And, it used to be that way. And I'm sure people were having that same attitude in their organizations. And, I'm loosely, as I said, Green Party member. I'm not married to the Green Party, but I'm a registered Green Party member. And while I am registered Green, I'm not married to the party. I look at the two-party system and can't participate in that, because they're the problem. They're the reason why we can't have strong unions and universal health care. The very basis, just the very basics of what we need to have done in the United States. So there's where we're at right now. And so anyway, you heard me run my mouth off. So, and for the occasion, I'm wearing a Crass t-shirt, Anarchy and Peace. I've had this thing since the 1990s, and it was tight. Like a couple of months ago, it was tight, but I can wear it now because I lost enough weight. I may not look it yet, but I'm melting those pounds away. So anyway, I'll be back hopefully Wednesday. If you like what you heard, please press like. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute. I have one other announcement to make. I do. Give me a second here. There was one other. I meant to say this in the very beginning, so that's okay. We'll have this straightened out in mere moments here. I usually have a link for Shanda Master, and I want to make sure her link will be back in the next live stream. But I have another person, a GoFundMe person that I'm putting today, and her name, well, on Twitter she goes by the name of Tired Peasants. So and so let me go ahead and find I'm going to find her on Twitter. Find her, the post on her on Twitter. Give me just a quickie here. All right. I hate it when I try to scroll and the screen bounces back. Here we go. Okay. That should do the trick there. Let me go back to the main thing here on StreamYards. And should that be it? That is it. Bingo. So, Tired Peasants is on Twitter, and she's moved to Ohio from Florida. Strong left-wing ideologue, working class, great person, and she needs help as far as her transition to settling down. She's got 2 kids and all of that, and so she needs help, and so she needs, if she can try to help her with a modest donation, if you or whatever you feel you can give, and so the goal that she needs to get is $6,497, and so right now it looks like so far it looks like she's raised $1,328. So so yeah. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that she needs help to for a good cause, help a comrade, and and she works on Twitter. Some of y'all probably seen her posting and all that. So if you can, do what you can to help her out. I got the link listed there. So I wanted to go and mention that as well and everything. And we'll go ahead and do that right there. So anyway, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment anyway. If you disagree with what I have to say, we'll have a conversation. I will have to say, basically, go ahead and try to create your own platform. And I say this as a free speech absolute. This is create your own platform, because we're all the muckrakers of our time, every one of us, because we don't need corporate media, not at all. We're all that we have. And we don't need corporate media. We need each other to spread the word. And so I urge each and every one of you to go ahead and subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show, and to free and pardon S. Snowden, to free Palestine, free healthcare for all, and to fight like hell for the First Amendment to protect our free speech rights. And until next time, in spite of the great orange man telling you otherwise, fuck Charlie Kirk. Y'all take care. See you all later. Bye-bye.